Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with our first Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Appreciate you joining me here on this Saturday. Love being able to take a little time, answer some of our community's questions that have come in over the past few months. And hopefully you've been with us for some time now. We've been doing this now for over 6 years, answered well over 5,000 questions. And it's exciting because I never know what the questions are that are going to come in. It's basically, I do this all the time. I'm on stage at an event. I just finished a talk and I leave like 10 minutes for Q&A. And oftentimes I'm like, hey, ask me literally anything that you would like. And this is essentially the same thing. So to me, this is always me just trying to do my best, share experience with you, not go and do a lot of research for you at the moment, but simply give you a place, I believe, to get started beyond maybe what conventional medicine has shared with you. So that's how we're going to do it today. Looking forward to diving in. So let's go. First question today is from Devin. Devin says, I'm 34 years old, never been on birth control, but started it 3 years ago per dermatologist advising this was the only way to combat cystic hormonal acne. I didn't want to be on it, but lo and behold, it works. I tried weaning myself off of it 3 times and the breakouts are unbearable, so I inevitably go back on it. Saw my PCP last month and asked if there's anything else I should do. She advised there was not, but on the bright side, menopause shouldn't be too far away, so I won't have to stay on birth control forever. I'll have to let me just pause for a moment and go, wow, wow, wow. That is what your PCP said to you. That's amazing because literally menopause could be 15 or more years away, but I digress. Okay, so wow. I know there should be a root cause somewhere. I just don't know where to start. I don't know how the hormones in birth control kill the inflammation and how nothing else will help. I had never had a thyroid issue until about a year ago, until I started using it. How do I find the root cause? All right. So this is basically what we're looking at. You can continue taking the birth control if you choose to. Again, I can't give you any medical advice, so I have to give you my disclaimer. I'm not here to give you any medical advice, no medical treatment plans, none of that, no medical diagnosis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'd like to share with you is this, is that I have so many podcasts on hormonal acne. I have so many podcasts on what's called estrogen dominance. And all of this goes together. So let me give you some free ways to get started. So you can go to stevencabral.com/podcasts, and you can use the search bar. You can type in hormonal acne if you want, or just go through the top, scroll through the top images of all the different show categories, and just click on hormones, the hormonal one, and you'll be able to understand how to rebalance your hormones. And those are all free podcasts. I've just narrowed them down to like the top 50 hormone-based shows that I believe will be helpful. Then you could also go to stevencabral.com/courses. All of those are my health results accelerators, and I have one on female hormones. So that will help you learn how to rebalance the hormones. Because so those are just some options. And then of course you could always run the stress, mood, and metabolism test. That would be the lab recommendation I have for you. And that would be at stevencabral.com/labs, which comes with a complete lab results consultation, a program for you, protocol for you, et cetera. So here's what I'm going to share though, is that one of the reasons why birth control does work is because it, at least for some women and not for all, it helps rebalance, or it doesn't help rebalance, but it balances the hormones in a way that enables you not to have hormonal acne. So we're looking at basically telling the body it's pregnant, or we're moving up progesterone, or we're moving up estrogen, or we're moving up both. And that's what able to rebalance the body in that way. We like to do it naturally. So if you're not looking to be on birth control for the next, 15 plus years, I think that's important to look at. I mean, again, it could maybe, I don't even want to talk like that, but maybe at 44, you're at menopause. Maybe at 49, you're at menopause. But the thing is, I just think that that's such a crazy statement for them to give you. So the truth is that you most likely had that thyroid, lower functional thyroid sit in the background, and then it was disrupted as well. These things happen all the time. And that's why my recommendation always for women, and this goes for men as well, but anytime you're feeling like you have lower mood, irritability, difficulty sleeping, some night sweats, irregular cycle, hormonal-based acne, bloating during the last 5 to 7 days of your menstrual cycle, like run that stress, mood, and metabolism. Try to run it on day 19 if you know when day 19 is of your cycle. Day 19, 20, any one of those days right around there will be perfect. And that's the way to get started. All right. So thank you, Devin, for writing in. All right, Erin's up next. Sinus question. My allergist said I have calcification and dried mucus in my sinuses, and the only way to get it out is the rotor-rooter surgery, where they put you under and clean all the sinuses. Seems like there has to be another way to get it out. Any ideas or suggestions? Thanks. Okay, well, as someone that literally had their sinuses taken out twice, you might say that's impossible. They only have to take out your sinuses once. I would agree with you. I had my adenoids, not my sinuses taken out, my adenoids taken out, and my tonsils taken out around, I think it was around 9 years old or 10 years old. Then I had my adenoids taken out a second time because they either said they grew back or they didn't get all of them or enough of them. And there's only 2 in the back of your nasal passages moving down towards your mouth. But during that second process, when I was 21 years old, they could not intubate me. And I was under this whole time, so basically under anesthesia. They had to break my nose for a second time in my life and to be able to, allow me to breathe. It was not a nice process waking up, what I thought was minor surgery at 21 years old. And lo and behold, that was that. So I know a little bit about sinus surgeries gone wrong. And I recommend surgery always as a last result. Again, I'm not giving you medical advice, but certainly you could look towards doing a neti pot once or twice a day first with a little bit of either, what do we typically recommend? Citruscidal drops, just 1 or 2, or some other nausea oil. But we like to make sure that we're cleaning out the nasal passages just naturally. And then at the same time, figure out what's going on in your nasal passages that this would be happening in the first place. So running something like a Candida metabolic and vitamins test to see if there is any yeast overgrowth in the body. So that's what I look at first. Nasal sprays by Nutribiotic is a great one as well. Once or twice a day, 2 to 3 squirts in each nostril. Really cleaning out the nasal passages and sinuses yourself. What would be one more I could give you? Well, proteolytic enzymes. Proteolytic enzymes like serrapeptase and nattokinase, which we actually have I don't know if we have a brand new product out yet or not, but we certainly use it in our private practice, and we're trying to get it out to everybody at Equal Life. You can just see if it's available. Just go to stephencabral.com/shop and just type in proteolytic. That's PROTEOLYTIC, proteolytic enzyme. It's the one I've been using in practice for some time now. It's an amazing product. I don't know if it's out yet on the Equal Life store, but you could check it out, and then you can always email Equal Life as well, which is just support@equi.life. All right. Holly is up next. My 15-year-old son was diagnosed with eosinophils of the esophagus. We can't afford lab testing. What do you recommend after the 7-day detox? All right, 15 years old, eosinophils of the esophagus. For everybody else that doesn't know what eosinophils are, is they're a type of white blood cell. So why would anyone have elevated eosinophils? It's very important to understand why. Always the why, right? Doctors don't really tell you the why, but it'd be nice if they did. So the why is this. Eosinophils are present with allergies, with certain types of cancer, and with parasites. For the most part, allergy-based sensitivities, food sensitivities or environmental, certain types of cancer, as well as parasites. So that's typically why you see elevated eosinophils on blood work, or if they're elevated on the esophagus, I'm assuming that you did some type of GI scope and then took a little sample. So I know they've run through all this. I'm sure that, again, it's just highly elevated sensitivity in that area. What's going on? Possible food sensitivities, maybe. It's just definitely inflamed. It's aggravated. What else could it be? Could be from acid reflux or silent reflux. It could be from even H. pylori in the stomach. So if there's one lab, you said you can't afford lab testing, I totally understand. If you're able to in the future, or you can get your insurance, your medical doctor pay for it, I would do the bacteria and parasite stool test. That's the one I would do. It would look for H. pylori. It would look for bacteria. It would look even for a little bit of candida. It's not the best at that, but it's good. And then it would look at H. pylori, bacteria, parasites. All right. So that's what I do recommend looking at. And then if your son feels much, much better after the detox, and you might not want to do the 2 days of fasting with a 15-year-old. You might want to do smoothies during those 2 days. then because we recommend the detox for 18 years and older. So if you're going to do it, it's a parental choice, but you may not want to do fasting with the shakes those first 2 days. You may want to do shakes and even shakes during the day, and then like a vegan-based dinner at night if you chose to, a plant-based dinner. All right, Gary is up next. Gary says, "Hi, Dr. Rawl. I had a question regarding testicular pain due to pelvic floor dysfunction. I'm currently working with a PT to resolve this issue. The pelvic floor issues have also contributed to chronic constipation and leaking gut. Until my pelvic floor issues are resolved, what do you think I should do to lessen the pain? Ice and cold showers on the area tend to work. Thank you, Gary." That's a great question, Gary. I don't know that we've ever had a question for pelvic floor issues in men. So yeah, looking forward to answering this. Happy to help. Thanks for writing in. All right, so keep doing your pelvic floor physical therapy. You're going to be doing bridging. You're going to be doing bridging, holding a small towel or ball between your knees. You're going to be doing plank-based exercises. You're going to be doing core exercises. You might even do some pelvic alignment, like so anterior, posterior pelvic tilt. All that's going to be great. So definitely work on that. What else can I share with you? The sits bats kind of that you talked about. So that can be absolutely very, very powerful. So definitely recommend that. Using a PEMF mat, maybe sitting on the PEMF mat for even a half hour, 45 minutes a day could work. My PEMF mat recommendations are at stephencabral.com/resources. And even though you're not saying that it's prostate based, do keep in mind that the prostate is affected by bacteria and it's affected by the bladder, and both of those can be affected by bacteria. So if it were me, I would probably run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, and maybe even the bacteria and parasite stool test. Again, those are at stephencabral.com/labs, or work with your local naturopathic doctor or integrative health practitioner level 2. Okay, and then the last thing I may do, if it were me, because again, I'm not providing medical advice, is I may take the advanced prostate support, as in I would do that for me, and I would take those 3 capsules per day. And I would take those either one at each meal or all 3 with dinner. And I would just see if that helps as well. Because remember, the bladder rests basically on the prostate, which then pushes down on everything in the groin. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, Gary, this might be the same Gary. I don't know, but it's Gary part 2. Hi, Dr. Rawl. I have a burning tongue issue that has been greatly lessened by taking B12. I've tried methylcobalamin and dinosylcyl hydroxy with similar results. It is now non-existent most of the time, but randomly comes at points during the day. All spices and even salt aggravated, so I avoid those. Redmond's real salt is the only salt that doesn't bother it. I have gut issues. I'm working to resolve those, chronic constipation, leaky gut, etc., which is probably why I have vitamin B12 deficiency. Any advice other than B12 to fix the burning tongue, or is it simply once the gut is fixed, it'll be fixed? Thank you. All right, so I've actually answered many podcasts on burning tongue. Let's just for fun, let's go to stephencabral.com/podcasts. Let's go over to the old search box and type in burning tongue. That's quite the keyword, right? All right, we've got episode 2137, burning mouth syndrome. We've got 1758. We've got 981, 442. All of those may be helpful. And what I would say for you is, yeah, you found out one of the things that it may be, which is methylation-based issues. So folate and B12 and sometimes B6. All of those can be helpful. I found that heavy metal toxicity can be an issue for burning tongue. I found histamines can sometimes be a trigger for it as well. All of these really are resolved by pretty much fixing the gut, working on detox, and supplementing with a good activated B complex, or even just with a daily nutritional support every day. What else can I share with you? That, yeah, and sometimes it's low hydrochloric acid. So not always, but sometimes, because when you have low stomach acid, you don't break down and absorb B12 that well. And same with zinc. Zinc can actually help burning tongue, and I've seen sometimes it hurts burning tongue, and oftentimes that's because of a copper imbalance as well. So we like to use the product Balanced Zinc, unless you run the minerals and metals test, and then you'd be able to see if you are higher or lower in zinc versus copper, or vice versa. So Gary, maybe the best one to run would be probably in my opinion, would be the starter kit, which is the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins test, and it comes with the Minerals and Metals test. That's the biggest savings there as well. All right, last question of the day is from Pamela. Pamela says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I really enjoy your podcast and appreciate all the knowledge you share. My question is about oxalates. My diet is mostly plant-based, and recent labs have come back showing high oxalates. Is there a protocol that would help to decrease the oxalates?" Great question. We have a lot of podcasts that go super in depth on oxalates. See if I can grab those for you since I'm already on my podcast page. 2087. 1871, 1849, 1640, 1598, 1577, 1569, 1522, 1437, 1402. We've got a lot on oxalates. So let me see. I've got a show just on the oxalate diet. So maybe let me just give you a couple shows that would be very helpful then. 1849 would be probably a good place to start. And why don't we start with 1849 and 1569, okay? And then I'm going to look up if I can find it for you really quick, the low oxalate diet show. All right, so it looks like 984 was one. You know what? I'm going to have you ask for the whole show on oxalates. I did a whole show on it, but I didn't label it in the title, which I should have, and we're going to go back and fix that so it actually shows up on a search. And ask that, please, at cabralsupportgroup.com. Ask Michelle, who's absolutely amazing at finding these shows. What's the podcast I did that was its own podcast just on oxalates? Because I gave you a high, a low, and a moderate oxalate food list. I believe I did. I know that I did, and much, much more. So definitely check that out. And then I believe it was on that same show I spoke about how do you reduce oxalates. So first, you reduce the total oxalate load from foods. And sometimes it's easy as honestly reducing like beets and spinach in your diet and like rhubarb if you eat rhubarb. And then you just move to like more moderate oxalate-based foods, and that's typically going to lower it. You make sure your hydration is good. You'll make sure your kidney's good to be able to filter these properly, and you'll also want to make sure you're getting enough vitamin B6 and magnesium in your diet in order to be able to break those down and remove them safely from your body. So, Pamela, hopefully that was helpful. Again, we're here for you. The whole team's here for you, not just me, and so always let us know how we can help. Thanks, everyone. Take care, and I'll be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions on the next House Call.